The hive mind of the Tyranids is a concept that stretches the boundaries of what we can comprehend about sentience and intelligence. Unlike any singular consciousness, the hive mind is a collective gestalt intelligence that connects and controls every Tyranid organism across vast galactic distances. Every Tyranid, from the smallest ripper to the towering hive tyrants, acts as an extension of this immense, unified will. There are no individuals within the Tyranid swarm. Each creature is a tool, a weapon, or a resource, seamlessly integrated into the whole. This unity makes the hive mind terrifyingly efficient. It does not strategize as we understand it, but adapts instantly to threats and opportunities. Every piece of data collected by one organism is processed and acted upon by the entire swarm, allowing the Tyranids to respond with unparalleled precision. What one sees, all see. What one learns, all learn. This level of coordination outstrips even the most advanced human or Xenos command structures, making the Tyranids an almost unstoppable force. What makes the hive mind truly horrifying is its alien nature. It is not something that can be reasoned with, deceived, or corrupted. It has no empathy, no morality, no concept of peace. Its sole purpose is to consume, to grow, and to evolve. To the hive mind, all life in the galaxy is merely fuel, biomass to be stripped, absorbed, and repurposed. Even in death, Tyranid organisms serve the hive mind, recycling their remains to fuel the endless swarm. This unrelenting, impersonal hunger makes the hive mind a threat unlike any other in the galaxy. The Tyranid swarms are not merely armies, they are ecosystems of destruction. Every organism within a Tyranid invasion force is a biologically engineered weapon, designed with brutal efficiency to fulfill a specific role in the hive mind's endless campaign of consumption. From the relentless hordes of hormagaunts to the towering carnifexes that crush fortifications, each creature is a seamless extension of the hive mind's will. Together, they form a perfect symbiosis of chaos and order, a storm of evolution unleashed upon the galaxy. The diversity of the Tyranid swarms is one of their greatest strengths. Smaller creatures like termagants and gargoyles serve as vanguards, swarming defenses and overwhelming foes with sheer numbers. Larger organisms like tyrannofexes or hive tyrants function as the heavy artillery and strategic command nodes, wielding devastating firepower and psychic abilities. Then there are the bio-ships, massive living vessels that transport the Tyranids across the void and consume entire worlds once the ground assault is complete. Everything is tailored for efficiency. There are no weak links, no wasted resources. One of the most horrifying aspects of the Tyranid swarms is their adaptability. The hive mind doesn't simply throw waves of creatures at its enemies, it learns. Tyranid organisms can adapt to overcome specific defenses within a single campaign, modifying their biology to resist new weapons or exploit vulnerabilities. What's more, the hive mind spawns entirely new creatures when necessary, evolving new horrors to address unique challenges. This constant adaptation ensures that every encounter with the Tyranids feels like facing an entirely new kind of nightmare. The swarms are relentless, consuming every resource in their path, from biomass to raw minerals. Planets devastated by Tyranid invasions are reduced to barren, lifeless husks. To face the Tyranids is to confront not just an enemy army, but a tidal wave of living death, an unstoppable force of nature driven by an insatiable hunger. Their presence is a reminder that the galaxy is prey, and the hive mind is the ultimate predator. One of the most insidious weapons of the Tyranids is the shadow in the warp, a phenomenon that precedes their arrival and shrouds entire star systems in despair and chaos. The shadow in the warp is a massive psychic disturbance generated by the Hive Mind's presence, blanketing the warp and disrupting psychic communication, navigation, and abilities. For those under its influence, it feels as though the very fabric of reality is unraveling, cutting them off from any hope of aid or escape. The shadow in the warp is more than just a tactical advantage. It is psychological warfare on a galactic scale. Astropaths and psychers subjected to it experience overwhelming sensations of dread, despair, and madness. Some hear the whispers of the Hive Mind, a cacophony of alien thoughts that erode their sanity. Many psychers lose control entirely, consumed by the relentless pressure, and become dangerous liabilities rather than assets. For the common soldier, the shadow in the warp manifests as a suffocating sense of doom, sapping morale and leaving defenders vulnerable to panic and collapse even before the first Tyrannid lands. This phenomenon also cripples a system's ability to mount an effective defense. Without warp travel, reinforcements cannot arrive, and the system's inhabitants are left to fend for themselves against the coming tide. Even advanced Xenos races like the Eldar, reliant on psychic powers for communication and strategy, are hamstrung by the Hive Mind's oppressive psychic presence. The Imperium, dependent on astropaths and warp travel to coordinate its vast armies, finds itself blind and isolated, its defenders forced to fight in desperate isolation. What makes the shadow in the warp especially terrifying is that it is merely a side effect of the Hive Mind's presence. It is not an intentional weapon, but a byproduct of the Hive Mind's incomprehensible psychic power. This underscores the Tyrannid's alien nature. Their mere existence disrupts the galaxy on a fundamental level, rendering even the most advanced civilizations helpless in the face of their approach. For those who sense the shadow, it is not merely a sign of death, it is the sound of inevitability. The process by which the Tyrannids consume planets, commonly referred to as tyrannoforming, is one of the most chilling demonstrations of their destructive capability. When the Hive fleets descend upon a world, their goal is absolute: to strip it of every resource, from the biomass of living organisms to the very atmosphere and oceans. What remains is a barren, lifeless husk, unrecognizable as a once thriving planet. The process begins with the invasion. Myriads of Tyrannid bioforms are deployed in waves, overwhelming planetary defenses through sheer numbers and overwhelming adaptability. As resistance crumbles, specialized bioforms known as capillary towers begin to sprout across the landscape. These organic spires serve as the primary conduits for harvesting the planet's resources. The towers burrow deep into the ground, extracting minerals and nutrients, while simultaneously pumping the planet's biomass into orbiting hive ships. Above the planet, the Hive fleet operates like a massive, living factory. Organic processes within the ships refine the harvested matter into raw materials for creating more bioforms. The Tyrannid's efficiency in this regard is unparalleled. Nothing is wasted. Plants, animals, oceans, and even the atmosphere itself are broken down and absorbed. By the time the Hive fleet moves on, the planet is little more than a stripped rock, its ecosystem and geology utterly annihilated. Tyrannoforming also extends to reshaping the environment itself to suit the needs of the Hive fleet. Toxic spores are released into the atmosphere, suffocating native life and corrupting the environment. Acidic rains and fungal growths spread across the surface, breaking down organic material for easier consumption. The atmosphere becomes unbreathable, transformed into a noxious soup that ensures the extinction of any survivors hiding from the initial assault. This process is terrifying, not just for its thoroughness, but for its speed. Planets that took billions of years to form and develop life can be stripped bare in mere weeks. The Tyranids' ability to rapidly reduce entire worlds to resources underscores their existential threat to the galaxy. Unlike other factions, the Tyranids do not conquer or enslave, they erase. The ultimate horror of tyrannoforming is its inevitability. Once a Hive fleet sets its sights on a planet, there is no negotiating or reasoning. The only options are to flee or to fight, knowing full well that even victory may come at a cost too great to bear. For the Tyranids, every battle is merely another step toward the total annihilation of life in the galaxy. The Tyranids represent a challenge unlike any the galaxy has faced. Their near-infinite numbers alone make them a threat on a scale unimaginable to most. Every Hive fleet that has reached the Milky Way is supposedly but a fragment of their total strength, an exploratory tendril probing the galaxy for resistance. This terrifying implication, that the full might of the Tyranids has yet to arrive, renders every victory against them hollow. If these fragments can decimate entire sectors, what hope remains when the rest of the Hive fleets inevitably descend? Their ability to adapt compounds the problem. Each battle teaches the Hive Mind new ways to overcome its foes, incorporating the genetic material of defeated species to create more efficient and deadly organisms. No strategy works against them indefinitely. They can evolve resistance to specific weapons, counteract defenses, and even render environmental conditions favorable to their advance. For every victory humanity achieves, the Tyranids grow stronger, ensuring that the same tactics will not succeed twice. The Imperium's struggles against the Tyranids illustrate the grim reality of the conflict. With its resources stretched thin, the Imperium cannot afford the losses it suffers against the swarms. Even when worlds are saved, the cost in lives, material, and morale is staggering. The realization that the Tyranids may be unstoppable, that they are a force beyond conventional military capability, casts a shadow over the galaxy. Unless some unprecedented breakthrough occurs, the question is not if the Tyranids will consume the galaxy, but when. The Tyranids are often thought of as mindless predators, but the existence of the Hive Mind suggests something far more terrifying, an overarching intelligence with goals that extend beyond mere survival. While much about the Hive Mind remains speculative, it is clear that its actions are deliberate and calculated. Every swarm, every attack, and every retreat serves a greater purpose, though that purpose remains inscrutable to the galaxy's inhabitants. The possibility of a long-term strategy makes the Tyranids an even greater threat than simple beasts acting on instinct. One chilling theory is that the Tyranids' goal is nothing less than the complete consumption of all biomass in the galaxy. Such an apocalyptic vision aligns with their behavior, stripping planets of every living thing before moving on. But what happens after? Could the Hive Mind have a greater purpose for this biomass, such as building an even larger swarm to continue its march across the universe? The idea that the Milky Way is merely another stepping stone in an endless journey is horrifying in its implications, reducing the galaxy's epic conflicts to a mere meal for something far greater. Alternatively, some speculate that the Hive Mind could be driven by a desperate instinct to escape something even more terrifying. If the Tyranids are fleeing a predator or a collapsing universe, their invasion may be a mere byproduct of their survival. Regardless of the motive, whether deliberate conquest or desperate flight. The Hive Mind's potential endgame paints a bleak picture for the galaxy. The Tyranids may not just be the galaxy's predators, they could be its ultimate destroyers. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Tyranids, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into the dark and fascinating corners of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss a video. Stay tuned for more, and as always, keep your eyes on the stars.